So I'm going to guess that a high majority of people in this room are probably an owner of some sort of Apple product. And every Apple product these days seems to come built in with a little artificial intelligence friend of ours, Siri. Now I'm here to speak about artificial intelligence, not necessarily just in your phones, but more as a product being placed in most of our electronics these days. My claim for this is that at this moment, artificial intelligence isn't at the appropriate level to where we can actually rely on it for everyday use. My three major points would probably be on the stats like artificial intelligence. It tends to, in the past, it has tended to misinterpret its initial programming, and it may end up doing something that it has not originally been planned to do. There's also that artificial intelligence in development as it stands is also very uncentralized, like there is no major focus on these topics. And my third point will be that artificial intelligence in the future will have a lot of problems even if we are able to manipulate it accordingly as we plan. To start off the point with the past issues with artificial intelligence, just last year in early June, a Russian promotional testing robot known as Promobot, was found in the streets of Perm, a city in Russia, to be causing traffic incidents after it escaped from its testing facility and landed in the middle of the street, causing traffic for a good 45 minutes. Now the problem with how he got there was his official, the co-founder of Promobot, the corporation that is after its self-named product, also known as Promobot, was mentioned that the co-founder's name, Oleg, what was his name? Excuse me, Russian is hard. Kivo Kurtsev said that Protobot was currently running an automatic movement algorithms, but using such algorithms to avoid plane targets, say is this desk here or someone standing next to you, is what it was planned on doing. But it's unfortunately, some of the engineers testing the bot at the time had left the door open. So he started to use the open door as another section of his testing. So he left his testing facilities and ended up in traffic. The problem with this is that his use of his programming, while it is very helpful that it is learning, the issue is that it wasn't intended to go into the city streets. Another issue with these things is, say something as the chatbots. There are such things. There's also this incident of something called Tay, a Microsoft product, where last year on its own, it was set out as a product where it was supposed to learn from interactions with people over Twitter. Unfortunately, the internet being the internet, it went a little haywire and started spewing some very inflammatory products. Now the issue with this is that, the issue I see with this is that the problem we're having is that the development for these there's no focus in them. We have companies such as Microsoft doing chatbots, we have Apple doing Siri, we also have Amazon who has its competitor Alexa. Then we have companies such as Google and Tesla who are making self-automated cars. All of these are running on completely different models of artificial intelligence. The issue with this is that since it's different types of artificial intelligence, many people are using multiple of these at the same time. Say you're driving a Model S, the new Tesla Model S. These have their self-driving cars on their own, but legally speaking, you were supposed to pay attention to them. But say you're on your phone having a conversation with Siri for some reason. These are the problems with artificial. They're all segmented, and all these products are also not very reliable, necessarily speaking. With Siri on its own, like many people have reported the problems where it's not actually paying attention to what's saying, or it may misinterpret people's wording. And with these issues, it's not very reliable. I mean, can you actually trust your car to get you in the right direction if you're using a GPS? Some people, yes. Unfortunately, I ended up with a very bad situation the other day where I ended up downtown somewhere, not my house. And then another problem with these things is that in the future, it's going to be a problem. Say we actually finally get a working self-driving car, such as the Model S. The problem we're going to have with that is that we're going to have to develop laws and other and new infrastructure to where we can actually have these self-driving cars be on the same level as the human drivers who are driving cars, say, made before the early 2000s, which these cars have basically, aside from radios and CD players, have very little electronics aside from what's necessary to get the car moving. The issues we're having with the issues we'll have with this is that the fact is, if we're going to change the infrastructure, it's going to cost not thousands but hundreds of millions of dollars for major highways and everything. And this is be a major issue in the future, and that's where I stand for this.
All right, Jared, the proposition, it's got a negative phrase in it. That's a bad start. You've got to want to avoid that. You had the preview that was, I think, pretty good. You laid that out for us at the beginning of the speech, so that's fine. Explain a little bit more about the controversy that this is the future, this is where people are going, but there are people who are either concerned about that or, for example, there are going to be cost ramifications. You get to that a little bit at the end, so it's not like there wasn't any controversy on it. I just think it could be defined a little bit more. Well, the body of the speech, you started off pretty well signposting that first point, but that was the last time that I got a very clear signpost of what the secondary claims are, and so that's problematic. Similar to what I was saying to Jelani before, sometimes you need to draw that picture for the audience, and I could tell when you got to point number 2, but you didn't really repeat what the claim was that you had in the preview, and you didn't give us a numerical signpost, so only because I'd paid attention did I know where it was going on. And remember, people sometimes need additional prompts. You need to hook them back in. I'm sure that everybody in here is paying as close attention as they can to all the speeches and not distracted by their phones that are on their desks that are not supposed to be. But let's face it, you're listening to 5 or 6 speeches in a row, it's easy to kind of drift off a little bit. When they pull back in, you've got to give them the signpost that says, here's where we are. Let them know what's going on. The information that you had, the examples are okay. I think they could probably be a little bit more detailed. The Russian robot one was okay. I don't know what the Twitter thing is that you're talking about. Apparently I should know because it seemed like you made the assumption that everybody else is aware of it. I'm sorry that maybe I'm in a group that doesn't understand what all's going on Twitter when it comes to the cyber bots, that sort of thing. So that could probably be explained a little bit more. The one that popped into my mind was that recent example where one of those home Alexa thing ordered all the dollhouses for people because the guy mentioned it on the news. Did you guys hear about that one? No. Oh, it was one of those things where the little girl that ordered a dollhouse and the newscaster talking about it says, "Oh, that's really funny." He said, "Alexa, get me a dollhouse." And of course the TV is on, and all the homes that had Alexa on at the time heard the news reporter on the broadcast, and like 2,000 dollhouses got ordered by Alexa for people who were listening to the newscast. That's the one that popped into my head. I don't know what the cyberbots was on Twitter, that kind of sort of thing. So I'm just saying that I think you could use a little bit more detail on a couple of those points. There's a whole bunch of hypotheticals in the presentation. That's okay. I think you need to be a little bit more forceful in making your argument here, and sometimes you're backing into these arguments. And like I said, it's like that last point. I think there is probably a good argument about what the infrastructure is going to have to be like in order to accommodate all of this, but you've got no data on that. It's just like we have to speculate on that. Okay, thank you.